It's probably going to be Kaiwei Tang on tomorrow night and Carson Whisenhunt on Saturday. So you got your young guys. The Giants need solid out of those guys. It's a lot to ask in a pennant race of really inexperienced arms. I think, to me, if those guys come out and pitch with confidence and are aggressive and the Giants support them with some solid defense, I think it's going to be a really good weekend.
Dave Flemming
Let's
about
do
that.
it, because Dave is joining us right here, courtesy of River Islands. Dave Flemming, our 95.7 The Game Giants insider and broadcaster for the team, as the Giants get a massive series win in Pittsburgh, a team that had just swept them a week ago. And Dave, good morning. And
I'll just ask right away. I mean, you've been a part of so many great teams, and I don't just mean like the broadcast team, because there's so many people working behind the scenes that people just don't understand. And we have the luxury of being able to explain to our audience about our boss and our technical producers and stuff. But when the Giants are winning championships, that staff Bochy had, and it goes back, those guys go back to Dusty Baker, Dave Vergetti, and Ron Wotus, and Flannery, and all the guys, Mark Gardner, that were a part of that. I think that we dramatically underrated how important the staff of Bochy's was. Dave, just speak to that. And when you're traveling with the team and you know how deep those coaching staffs are, we just never give them their just due, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's right. But it's hard to, because especially in baseball, it's just hard to understand the impact of coaching. In football, you see schemes and play calls. Basketball, you see, okay, you got a defensive coach and you see the defense improve. You have an offensive assistant coach and you see the out-of-bounds plays get better, or the shooting coach helps a guy refine his mechanics. Baseball, look, pitching coaches, you can sort of see pitching coaches' impact, I think, over the years with repertoire, with refining the crafts of these guys. But baseball is a sport where it's a lot harder to understand the importance of coaching and how much impact those guys can make. They make a huge impact, and it's really important. And you got to get the mix right. You got to get the emotional part of it right. So much of coaching in baseball is supporting players through what is just an unbelievably grueling season. And it's a sport that it's the hardest sport. Baseball's the hardest sport. It is. I'm not saying, playing quarterback is easier than, like, being an NFL quarterback at a really high level is super hard, but the hardest sport to play consistently well is baseball. And it's just the cliche of sport of failure. It's a sport that beats you down. And so coaching, even for the athletes, as great as they are, so much of it is emotional support and, reinforcement of the stuff that you've worked on and finding the right way to approach a player. I always thought Ron Wotus was really good at that, like finding the right way to approach a player who done something dumb or made a mistake or forgotten something, and not make them feel like the world is ending, but turn it into a real teaching moment. I mean, obviously Dave Vergetti is one of the great pitching coaches in the history of baseball. I'll give you one other number two just for your list.
Yeah, give it to me.
Number two.
Dick Tidrow was one of Brian Sabian's right-hand men over those years. And he had a very specific job, and it was to identify pitching talent. And Dick Tidrow was the guy who had the Giants draft Lincecum and Kane and Bumgarner and Romo and Wilson and all these guys. And the Giants would never have had the success that they had without the input of that guy. And, he died too young, and all of us around the Giants really miss him a lot. And he was a secret weapon for the Giants for all those championship teams. I don't know that there was a person in the game better at identifying pitching than Dick Tidrow.
What a great call on that.
Dave Flemming joining us here on the Morning Roast, obviously voice of the San Francisco Giants and our 95.7 The Game Giants insiders. They have won back-to-back series now. And how massive of a swing game was that yesterday, Dave? Potentially losing the series, coming back to win it. Obviously, the loss of Gerard Castellón, that stinks. But Dom Smith coming through late. Jung-Hoo Lee's been showing up lately. How massive of a swing game was that for the Giants to get that win in Pittsburgh before heading home now to take on the Nationals?
Yeah, every game now is so big, and you just got to win as many of these as you possibly can. So all these close games are important for the Giants to win. And look, I hesitate to say like any one game, because we've seen this team fluctuate so much up and down. You know, you're ready to write them off, they come back. You're ready to celebrate, here they go. They're churning for a championship, and then they stumble. So it's been a really hard team to kind of figure out over the course of the year. But yesterday, I think framing it by saying winning series is a good way to approach this. Like, it takes away the edge of you lose one game and the world is ending, but it also sort of emphasizes the urgency of the situation. So it is a good way to frame winning series. I just think it's this whole week leading up to those Padres games, like, you want to be playing your absolute, so much of this sport, and gosh, you can what this Giants team just is emblematic of this as much as any team I can ever remember. So much of this sport is like hot, cold, when you catch a team, how a team's playing, and they got to catch these Padres games at the right time. They have to. They have to build some momentum in it, because that's their path to head-to-head matchups. It's not to say that they can't, catch the Mets, and maybe the Mets stumble, although the Mets are a really talented team. It's hard for me to see. I know they're scuffling a little bit right now, but hard for me to see them just, going down in flames. But the Padres are the team they have the most head-to-head matchups with that they can catch. And so those games are so important. You got to build that momentum, that good feeling, that, the lineup's got to be feeling good. Individual hitters got to be feeling good. And that's where yesterday you got a couple more guys with some positive feeling. It's the best I think the offense has felt in months. And if they can just keep that going, yesterday was a great part of that. Like, rally late against a really good reliever, a guy who's been one of the best relievers in the league. Keep that going this weekend. They can feel really good going into Monday.
Dave, they've got so many options at first base. I watch every inning of every game, and I'm telling you, this guy, Dom Smith, is a ball player. I don't know if he's a starter every single day on any team in the league, but I know for this team, he just makes positivity happen, whether that's dig outs at first, unbelievable plays down the line to stop an extra base hit, clutch base hits. I mean, he's had multiple big knocks when this team is dying for a hit with a runner in scoring position, and they need to carve out some playing time. I don't care if there's a lefty on the mound. If he's swinging it well, freaking play him. Like, I don't know, man. Dave, I really like Dom Smith, and I want this guy on the team, not just for the remainder of this year, but moving forward next year. And I know there's a logjam of guys at first, but you got to play this guy. Am I tripping here? Like, I love Dom Smith.
Yeah, I don't think you are. I think you should. I knew nothing. I should say, knew nothing. I mean, I've watched this guy play a lot of games over the years. I knew nothing about his personality. I knew nothing about how popular this guy is. Those guys love this guy. He is so positive. He's got a Wilmer vibe to him. He gets along with everybody. He's got the Wilmer heartbeat late in games where he can shorten up. This guy, Dom Smith, understands who he is as a player as well as anybody on that team. Like, he's not trying to launch home runs when he's up there. He understands who he is as a hitter. He understands situations. He changes his approach based on situation, count, who's on the mound, as well as anybody on this team. He is a good defensive player. I never knew that about him. I never appreciated his defense as much as I probably should have. I'm with you. There's a great role for him on this team. It's hard to be a regular first baseman without power. So it's hard to be like a 500 at-bat first baseman if you're not going to provide some power. It's possible, but it's hard. But that's where I think this guy can be such an important role player, guy off the bench. Somebody gets hurt, he's right there ready to play for a week. He's just a really solid, fundamentally sound player who's a delight to be around. And the Giants marketing team is going to be giving him an extra award too, because every time this guy's doing an interview, I hear him, hey, Giants fans, we need you. This team isn't out of it. He's like the best cheerleader for what's going on right now. It's fun.
He's just a great dude.
We just had him on a couple days ago, and he's just so cultured with Bay Area when it comes to music, California. He's from Compton. He spoke to that in all of it. He's just such a down-to-earth guy, and we appreciate it so much. And, when I went to some of the games this year, Flem, and just talking to him, in the locker room, he just waxes poetically about leaning on guys like Barry Bonds, right? Some of the legends of the game and how much he appreciates to lean on those guys because you can't speak to it enough, right? You got Barry freaking Bonds, the greatest player maybe of all time, and you get to use him as like a coach going forward and leaning on. It's incredible. We have Dave Flemming here joining us right now on River Island's guest line, voice of the Giants. And Dave, another guy, a lot of people, a lot of questions, and he's been tearing the cover off the ball in AAA, but they want to see him. Bryce Eldridge. You think there's any chance the Giants call him up at all in these final 2 months, in this final stretch of the season?
Well, I think two things. Number one, it's very exciting to watch him. Bryce is doing everything you could possibly want from a kid who is 20. He's 20 years old, and he's just pummeling home runs at the highest level of the minor leagues. Really exciting. He's learning. This guy's a super fast learner. But I think if all of us, not that I didn't know this before, but if all of us needed a refresher about Buster Posey, like if there's one thing we've learned about Buster this year, it's that when he says something, he means it. He's not trying to throw somebody off the scent. He's not trying to mislead. When you ask him a question and he answers, you should listen to that answer. And he was asked the other day about Bryce Eldridge, and he said, we believe he needs some more time. And we're going to be patient with this guy because we don't want to rush it because we think he's a big part of our future. So I think we should just listen to those words and probably assume that Eldridge is going to be, at least for this month, down in AAA. He just hasn't had much experience. I think the Giants want to put him in a position where he can be ready to go, truly ready to go. It's impossible. You're always going to have to learn at this level. You can't fully prepare for being a big leaguer until you get here. But I think everybody needs to just have a little patience with him. And if Encarnacion's going to go on the injured list, which he is, they do have a decision to make. But there was a game last night. There's a minor league game tonight. They can watch those games, sort of see how they feel about the roster. Wilmer, I guess, is a risk. I think they don't think he's going to go on the IL, but Wilmer's a risk. There could be two spots potentially opening up this weekend if Wilmer doesn't get any better. But I would not anticipate right now one of those being Bryce. It's just going to be a little longer.
Yeah, they got the two kids from the Mets, the pitcher and the outfielder, who have already had some immediate impact. So that's really exciting. It's funny how these things all come together. Casey Schmidt at one point, everybody was down on him. Guy's been having great at-bats for months now, it feels like. Christian Koss was on fire, and then he goes away, and you just forget about him. And he comes back, and it's funny how these things work out. This weekend, Giants, we know every game is big. What are you looking for this weekend with the Giants? I feel like things are coming together. The guy I'm most pumped about right now is Jung-Hoo Lee, Dave. The way he's using his speed. He went second to third the other day. I don't think he does that a month ago. He stole that bag against the Mets, and then the ball trickles away, and he takes that extra bag going second to third again. I am loving the speed element from him and taking command in center field defensively. You're seeing him be way more demonstrative. I think Jung-Hoo Lee, it's starting to click for him. Use the speed. So I'm looking forward to him. Who are you looking at right now this weekend as the key catalyst?
Yeah, it's a good call by you. I think it's possible that fly ball that dropped in Atlanta on that Monday night was sort of like a wake-up call for Jung-Hoo. Not that, Jung-Hoo is incredibly professional. He cares. I think he cares almost too much. Like, it's killing him when he doesn't produce the way he thinks he can. And some of that he's got to get over, like relax a little bit. Game is hard. You have an offer. That doesn't mean you let everybody down. Like, I do think Jung-Hoo puts a ton on his own shoulders, and that is not helpful in this sport. So, but I think that in terms of like taking charge and being a little more assertive, it's possible we look back at that embarrassing moment in Atlanta and think that is where he just sort of decided, all right, I got to be a little more forceful with my personality. It's maybe not who he is naturally. So anyway, that's one. I think the big storyline of the weekend is the Giants have, it's probably going to be Kaiwei Tang on tomorrow night and Carson Whisenhunt on Saturday. So you got your young guys, and they've shown a lot of positive things in the last week plus. but these are big games, and you're counting on guys who, in front of a big home crowd, there's extra pressure, I think, sometimes when you play at home. I think the big story is against a Nats team that's struggling, but still they've got Abrams, they've got Wood, they've got some guys who can do some damage. Like the Giants need solid out of those guys. It's a lot to ask in a pennant race of really inexperienced arms. I think, to me, that's the story of the weekend. If those guys come out and pitch with confidence and are aggressive, and the Giants support them with some solid defense, I think it's going to be a really good weekend. It's hard. Nobody wants to be asking these guys making their second and third starts respectively in their careers. Nobody wants. It's not the ideal scenario, like August pennant race, super important games. That's just the way it is right now until Roop and Birdsong and a couple others can get back healthy and up to speed. So they're leaning on these guys, and they don't need them to be, pitching a complete game. They just need them to be solid.
Okay, so before we end this, we've got a verbal agreement on air for the whole Barry audience to know. You'll host me at San Francisco Golf Club. I'll host you at Olympic Club, a little home-and-home action. I'm teasing.
No, he's
but not really.
No, he's not. Absolutely not. Dave,
I would
appreciate
love to play some golf with you. I would, and I will say this: a moment I will never forget. I'm not going to tell all the details of the story, but Mike Yastrzemski and I on Thursday on the off day, we were playing at a truly great, one of the great golf courses in the world. And we finished our round, and we were, sort of winding down and having a drink after the round. And that's when he got the ping from Buster Posey that he had been traded. And
wow.
So I was with Yaz in a golf course locker room when he got traded, which, was a unique golf experience for me and something I'll never forget.
So catch Dave and Yaz at Cypress Point in Pebble Beach. There you go. Hey, Dave, we appreciate the time.
We were in New York. We were in New York on the wrong.
He was at National.
No, he flew over there.
Bethpage or National. He was at one of those. Dave, I'm so jealous. Just keep living your life to the fullest.
We appreciate it, Dave.
I live a pretty good life. I got to say, my trip this last week, I did a lot of fun things the last week. I have it pretty good.
There you go.
I love it.
Hey, Dave,
have a good one, buddy. Go Giants.
There you go. We appreciate it.
Yeah.